Grace and peace to you, members of our prayer group here at West Parish of Barnstable United Church of Christ. If you have specific prayer concerns or celebrations you'd like included next week, just email me or call the office. I'll be glad to add them in. By way of prayer concerns and celebrations this week, John Hunt had eye surgery this past Wednesday for cataracts and glaucoma. It went well, and he is recovering nicely. Leroy and Tony Maloof rejoice in telling us that we can take Jordy off the prayer list. Jordy has had a long recovery from that gunshot wound to the head, so that's a big celebration. On a sadder note, their son Jeff in Orlando is in the hospital being treated for COVID-19. A reminder that we all need to get the vaccine. And let us pray that vaccine hesitancy will be vanquished from our midst. I was thinking the last few days about how we often think of prayer as about doing. Typically about asking God for this or that. Petitionary prayer, which is something we are often about here, is after all asking that God intercede for someone that we care about. Prayers of gratitude are often about communicating thanks, again, directed towards the source of our blessings, and so on. Now, at other times, we think of prayer as being open to listening. We all know that for any sort of conversation to happen, one party can't do all the talking and never take the time to listen for something that the other might have to say. Indeed, even when the other party is silent, that silence can communicate something, if only a willingness to be open for what might come next, or as a prompt to get the speaker to reconsider a position. But another type of prayer is so different that perhaps it is hard to think of it as prayer. For instance, just walking the labyrinth, which has a long and storied tradition as being considered a form of contemplative prayer. Now, one can get lost in a maze, but never in a labyrinth. In a labyrinth, if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you will eventually get to the center of the labyrinth, and then, by continuing to follow the path, to the exit. And because you don't have to worry about where you're going, it frees the mind to just be elsewhere. Now, we don't all have a labyrinth close at hand, but we can do something like that by coloring. I have a coloring book in my study, and at times when I feel I'm just too busy about being religious, I just pull it out and color. Now, one might argue that this is not useful, but in a way, that's the point. So perhaps give it a try sometime and see what happens. But don't get anxious about anything happening. There's no goal here. There's just the process. And so now let us continue in the spirit of prayer, asking that God watch over and care for those on our prayer list, as we listen to In the Bulb There Is a Flower, sung by John Morell with Donna Murphy on pipe organ.
It could come to a hidden promise, but
bless you, and God be with you till we meet again.